my definition of a superhero would be like someone who fights and keeps fighting, especially if it's in sacrifice of himself.
What did you want to be?
It's time for you to look inward and begin asking yourself the big questions. Who are you? And what do you want?
You should be the hero in your own story. You should see yourself conquering, the dramatic action of whatever you're trying to do.
Today I'm joined by the awesome, genius creator of the Mutupo project, Kay Rwizi. Bro, thank you so much for taking the time, and I'm just honored that you responded to a random dude's Instagram DM, gave him your number, and then now we're having this show. And thank God for Instagram's algorithm that I stumbled upon your content, man. Like the Mutupo project it's knocking futz. It's freaking awesome, and like I'm just geeking out over it. And I think like people just want to know. Well, I think for those who don't know, what is the Mutupo project?
The Mutupo project is a story that I'm telling via comic book and hopefully animation eventually. It's about, should I also say what it's about?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's about a world where people can use the power of their totems, but in this particular world, that's been banned. You can't use the power of your totem anymore.
Yeah.
Until this reclusive billionaire decides, you know what, I don't care about the ban. So he uses his power and influence to legalize a Mutupo tournament where people can use their totems to fight and compete with each other. And they have to do that and kind of go head to head with the police.
So basically what the billionaire is doing is not legal, and the authorities are still like cracking down on people using Mutupo.
It actually is legal, but it kind of starts to cause an uproar, and some of the people in the police are understandably kind of dribbled. Like, how did he do this? He can't have done it cleanly. So they start investigating and they start to have run-ins, and it escalates from there.
Dude, I just love how this billionaire, this recluse billionaire just comes out and like decides to legalize this.
Yeah, he has, I guess, if I can use a real life example, he has as much power as like an Elon Musk.
Yeah, and he's as powerful as Elon, and he's on that Bernie Mac tip. I'm not scared of you, motherfucker. I shouldn't even be cussing, but I ain't scared. Like he just goes ahead and gets it going.
Yeah, so he's like, yeah, this is how it is. And basically he kind of makes it okay for anything to be done as long as it's in the confines of the tournament. And the police don't like that, so it becomes a whole thing.
So after that, it's essentially outlawed, and people have to use it on the low, or at least not be caught using it, because that would mean getting thrown into prison or possibly death, maybe.
Well, that's how it is before this tournament, and this tournament kind of starts blurring the lines. Like some stuff starts happening in the tournament, and like it's legal, but then it's obviously not okay. So it just becomes very complicated, and
very controversial, which is
yeah.
interesting. And what I found particularly interesting is like you use something that's very relevant in our culture, which is the whole Mutupo thing. And I think for
Mhm.
our non-Shona listeners, Mutupo, as you said, it's like a totem.
Mhm.
And in our culture, it's usually what? A sacred object, a sacred animal that
Mhm.
serves as a symbol or emblem of a group of people, right? Such as a family, clan. And I love how you defined it on your Instagram. You said Mutupo is your identity. It's your father's identity, your father's and all his fathers before. Like, dude, there's no way I can
Mhm.
read this in a normal way. Like every time I read it, I think it's so dramatic. Is your identity, father's identity, your father's fathers and all fathers before him, down to the firsts. Everyone has Mutupo, but only a few can use this to their fullest potential. And dude, like that, I didn't have to read anymore. I was sold. I was like, yes, this is beautiful. I'm an anime superhero fan, and you
Mhm.
just help me. It's like you sparked interest. Uh, like, well, sparking interest. How can I put this? It's like you you reignited the interest of like our whole Shauna culture. Like personally, as a young person, people our age, it's
Mhm.
stuff that we don't learn about enough. And you've just like you've made it cool again. It's something that wasn't quote unquote cool. It's not what cool kids do. It's all Kutara Shona, like speaking Shona, or talking about Mutupo heritage. It's stuff that it's so terrible. Like I hate that it's this way, but we've become so disconnected from it. And this is you reintroducing us through a medium that a lot of people love, which is anime, and connecting us back to our culture. And that's a powerful thing, bro. It's so impactful. I don't know how you came up with it. Was this like, where does it come from? Like, man, this is why I said, like, you're a freaking genius project creator. Like, where does it come from? This was like so profound.
I yeah, I definitely don't deserve the title of genius, because I
Nah,
think
dude,
it's an idea that
it,
a lot
I
of
would say
people have
take it.
been
No, no.
you know what? If
Take your
you
flowers,
insist,
King. Take your flowers, King.
this is actually an idea that a lot of my peers have told me that they wanted to do a story like this. Uh, I would say the only difference between myself and them is they I don't think they were as stupid as I am. I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And I didn't have many resources. I was just like, let me just throw myself in the deep end and see how it goes.
I love that.
Yes.
I,
Yeah,
I don't,
it's
I think you're using,
very
I think stupid is a code word for genius. You're just not saying it, bro. Like, take it. The reason I say that, and it's not just like me trying to flatter you or something, but it's so genuine. And for me, I think what even makes it more so of a genius thing is that you did it. It's not being stupid because you went out there, like you said, you didn't have a lot of resources, and you did it. You literally you were wigging it, and like my uncle and I coined this term. We call it wigging, like wig it. You know how, not like women wearing wigs. Like I'm gonna wig it today. The wigging we're talking about is uh work with what you got. So what work with what you got. So with what you have at the time. So
that's genius. That's genius.
that's why I was like, I'm glad you did it because a lot of the times we sit on these amazing projects and ideas, and I'm guilty of doing this too. But you went out there and you did it, and it's resonating with a lot of people. Did you feel like it was going to resonate in this way? Is this based on the reception it's getting now, and based on what you thought people would, oh, how you thought people would connect with it, how like how does that differ, like, and compared to what you expected versus what you're getting now?
Well, every time you kind of create something, you hope that it is going to resonate with people. But for me personally, it's always a surprise when it actually does. I remember, I think the first video I decided to make, kind of explaining the whole project. I was like, you know what, it's a little weird for me to just start this comic book and then expect people to engage with it when they don't even know what it is. And I did one of the things that I really hate doing, that is putting myself out there, going in front of a camera. So yeah, my best friend's words were in my head. I was just like, smile, project your voice, tell them what it's about. And I did that. And I remember the first video I posted was on TikTok, and I had just gotten on TikTok and I had like 30 followers. And I'm pretty sure from that video I got like 500 followers.
Oh
And
my
they were
God.
talking about this. They were resonating with it. And I was like,
That is
how?
insane.
Yeah, and like 500 followers
Overnight.
when I look at other people's TikTok accounts, I'm like, 500 isn't a lot. But to me, even when I saw like a 10 follower jump, I was like, this is crazy. And then people just kept pouring in, and they weren't just like following, they were commenting on the video. And I was getting a lot of people telling me what it means to them. And I hadn't even released the comic at that point yet. I was like, huh, okay, this is definitely crazy. And it's really cool because it motivates me to keep going. Because I love connecting with people, especially if it's through my stories. It's like, wow, you thought this was cool? I think it's cool. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
That is amazing. And it's taken a whole like a life of its own. And
Yeah.
dude, shout out to your best friend. You know, we need more people like him. You know, ask him if he's taking like best friend applications, or if he's running a best friend training camp or some shit. Of course, because we need more people like him. You know.
Yeah. Everyone needs a friend like him.
That is.
I don't have an older brother because I'm the firstborn, but like, yeah, he's the closest thing I've got.
Man, I know what that's like. I'm also the oldest in my family, and you know, like I had to tell you a bit of, but my origin story was that, like, you know, my best friend passed away, and it's essentially why I do this podcast, because that dude lived his life like a freaking superhero, and then I just channeled, you know, the way he motivated me and inspired me through my love of story, anime, especially in superheroes. And it's the reason why I do that. So I think having someone like that is key. And you know, it's a beautiful thing. People underestimate the power of friendships. And as this thing continues to get bigger and bigger, he's like literally a significant part of this whole thing in your origin story, like getting you started and stuff. Just so powerful, man. And like anime, you know I love it. It's all about like turning trauma, adversity into power. You know, you've got your classic Goku and the power of friendship, you know, just trying to get better. And that's what people don't understand, or most people don't understand. If you're an anime fan, you kind of get it, that this is what you extract from it. Especially when I sat down and I started to analyze, why am I attracted? Why am I what
People are like
attracts me
this
to these
thing.
stories? Exactly, they've got this pull, and I realized, oh, it's the fact that Goku doesn't give up. He's always working to become the best. He, when he's beaten, he comes back stronger. And these are practical life lessons that you can extract from anime. So I'm kind of curious how you see anime and the role it's played and is playing in your life.
Mhm. I think it's the same with you.
Mhm.
I don't think it's a coincidence that most people get into anime through shonen.
Mhm.
I don't think it's a coincidence that shonen is the most popular genre in anime.
Mhm.
Uh, to people who don't know what shonen just means young boy, right? So
I think so, yeah.
the anime that's made with that demographic in mind, it's basically made to target young boys, and it's at this age that we start watching this anime, and life is pretty weird when you're like young like that,
Mhm.
and you're kind of finding your feet. You don't know which way is up, and then you see anime, and the characters are going through impossible odds, and they have people around them that help them go forward, and they don't give up. They just keep going. And you're like, wow, what if I was like that character?
Exactly.
Yeah, like, what if I didn't give up? What can I do?
And I love it. I love it so much. And
Yeah.
very rarely do I get to connect with another anime and superhero fan on this level. Like I'm keeping my composure. I'm like super cool, super chilled right now on this podcast. Like inside, I'm jumping up and down like an 11-year-old girl. And it's as you said, man, like what if and it's those questions that you're like, what if I don't give up? What can I achieve? What can I become? Can I unlock a level of super saiyan? Can I super saiyan? And the thing is, we did it as kids, but subconsciously we didn't know what we were trying to communicate, what we were communicating to ourselves and what we were communicating to the world. We're like, you're like, oh, I'm gonna go super saiyan 1. Or you go people in the gym, or like I remember in high school on the basketball court, I'm like, I'm trying to go super saiyan with this. And then I realized I'm like, it's a mindset, the
Yeah.
ability to go through a magnitude of suffering without relenting is what makes these stories so beautiful, so compelling.
Mm.
So it's just awesome. So I mean, every anime superhero character has an origin story. Do you have what is your origin story? Because I'm itching to know, because honestly, I've looked at stuff in my past, the bad stuff that I've gone through, the dark times in my period of time, like the death of my best friend, divorce, and all these other things in my life. And I've kind of shaped my own anime narrative, and I'm like, I'm becoming I'm gonna
An anime
achieve Super
protagonist.
Saiyan Blue level. I'm gonna. My other favorite anime is My Hero Academia. It's like
Ah,
one for all. Like I love that one. So and in psychology, what they call it is this is obviously like geek talk and very sciencey, because I really went down the rabbit hole of anime and psychology. Basically,
mm,
when you look back onto your life, it's and extract meaning from the bad things that happen, and it makes you stronger. It's called autobiographical reasoning.
mhm.
And you ask, why did this happen to me? What does it mean for my life, instead of adopting a victim mentality? So of course, if there's something that you're uncomfortable sharing, it's totally cool. But do you have your own Bruce Wayne type origin story, and how did it transform you, or what did you learn from it?
Mm. I'm pretty sure everyone has an origin story, because, like you said, uh, whenever we look back on our past, we can't help but communicate things that happened in our lives like a story, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So for me, definitely when I start thinking about what set me onto this path, anime is a big part of it, but also I've always had trouble with my health, and I remember when it started getting really egregious. I was just entering high school, and I wasn't a big anime fan yet. So, of course, that is when I became a big anime fan, because at some point I was really sick and I couldn't do anything. I was just at home and I couldn't do anything but just draw uh, and think up my own stories. And one of my friends gave me a DVD set, pirated DVD set of my favorite anime, Bleach.
Oh,
And I remember watching like hundreds of episodes over a few days. That's the only thing I could do because I couldn't go to school. And I really loved school. I was a teacher's pet and everything.
proud.
Yeah. So, and then I watched anime, and it was, I really related to the main character, because in that anime there's this guy called Ichigo, and he has his normal life as a high school teenager, but you can also see ghosts, and then he's given the supernatural power to fight ghosts, and he goes into the spiritual world to fight all these monsters. And when I saw that, in my mind I was like, it would be nice if I could leave my sucky material world and go in a different world and fight monsters and stuff. Like, it would be cool if I could fight my demons like he does. And from there, I started holding story in such a high esteem, because it became my escape. And it wasn't just consuming, it was also creating, because you would look at something and think, this is cool. Let me see if I can emulate this or make an approximation of this. And even though I loved school, my health kind of made sure that I couldn't exactly clock any hours in that. So whenever I wasn't at school, I would just draw or write. By the time I was done with A level, the thing that I had put most of my hours into was storytelling, be it drawing or writing. So at some point I was just like, why don't I just do this? And
That is
so
beautiful.
yeah, that
At your lowest point or during this difficult time period in your life when you're going through all this, you discovered your superpower. And
yeah, you could say that.
you said something interesting, like, it would be nice if I could escape my sucky reality and, fight my demons in like this world, spirit world or imaginary plane, and be able to just leave what I know now. But I think what I've begun to understand and implement in my own life, of course, it's not perfect, it takes a whole lot of practices. You bring your, because reality, what is reality other than your perception of it? So
Exactly.
you project what you want into the reality you have. And I think it's what you've done so well with bringing these stories to life. And, people people connecting with it, people are feeling inspired and empowered by it. And I'm one example out of many hundreds of other people, bro, hundreds, if not thousands. And it's just crazy. It's like, I think we don't, like, when it's on social media and you see the little number on TikTok, we don't appreciate how many people that is. But just picture yourself standing in front of 500 people that you've touched and connected with.
I'm scared to stand in front of 5 people.
Well, hey, you got to use the power of Mutupo to augment that. So, which is such a beautiful thing. And so, would you say, like, the storytelling, were you conscious of it, what you're doing at the time, of, you know, expressing yourself artistically and telling these stories that could also touch other people when you're at that point struggling? Is it something that you're conscious of and you knew you were doing at the time, or it's something that you've refined and over the years? And how has it changed, like, from that time, from A levels and now? How do you view it?
Sorry, I got a bit of disturbance on my side.
Oh,
Could
cool.
you repeat it?
No, it's cool. I was saying, you know, at the time you said you're struggling with your health,
Mhm.
which led to the manifestation of the superpower. How were you conscious that when you're creating these stories, you're creating stories also to inspire? Because it's very easy when you get to that point to take a very scenic outlook on life and just see things as all doom and gloom. How did you, was it only anime that helped you navigate that and helped you focus on the positive side, or the times that you really felt like, you know what, screw this, I'm just going to give up, life is sucky? How did you navigate, if you had such thoughts, how did you navigate through those?
I think when I was that young, I wasn't exactly aware of what I was doing, which I think is the same for a lot of people. We're swayed by a lot of things even when we don't realize it. It's only later when you're like, hey, this happened like this. At the time I was, yeah, go ahead.
You're saying at the time you were?
At the time I wasn't really conscious of what I was doing. And I think that's the same for a lot of people. They have things that kind of push and pull them, and they don't really know that that's happening, but it does happen. And I think it's only later when you realize just how much something affects you.
Absolutely. And now
So
that you're
at the time,
yeah,
at the time I was just it's I don't think at the time I had a concept of what depression was. It was just this day sucks, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. But when I'm doing this, or when I'm watching this, or when I'm drawing, or when I'm writing, the day doesn't suck as much. So I should probably do this more often. And that's what I kept doing. I just kept doing that until I realized exactly what was happening. Like, oh, okay, so when I'm in emotional or psychological turmoil, I run to this thing. And I started becoming very aware. Like, when I would just go through my lowest points with my health, as soon as I was able to, like, just sit up and write something on my computer, I would just write a story. And a lot of the time I would read the story and go, I want to write the story, and then I want to draw it one day, and then I want to make it a comic book, and I want someone to read it, blah, blah, blah. But what ended up happening is I would just write the story, and then it would do what it was meant to do for me emotionally. And when I was out of that place, it's like I didn't have any use for it anymore. And then I would move on. And I think I did that a number of times. There's a few comics that I wanted to continue, but they were only born out of my lowest points. And then when I got back to normal, quote unquote normal, uh, I just shifted focus, and I think that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's at the time it was probably your escape, but not escape in the negative sense, but it's something that empowered you. And
Yeah.
once, like you said, things got back to normal, you kind of dropped it. So that was back then not so cognizant of what was going on. But now that you've reflected back on it, are you're now more aware of what's going on, what influenced you? How are you living your life now moving forward, knowing what you know? And also, let's say there's somebody else who's in a similar position, who is struggling with an illness. By the way, you don't feel pressure to say what it is if you don't want. Is struggling with it, but wasn't fortunate enough to stumble upon like anime and comics and that like positive programming. How would you help that person navigate through that period?
I don't think I would be able to say anything that would help like that.
Mhm.
I don't know if it works like that. But I am aware that when a story does resonate with you, like when it means something to you, it just happens. There's this, like I said, my favorite anime. It's not the best anime in the world, but it's my favorite.
Mhm.
So the creator of that anime, when I got older, I found out that he would often get sick.
Wow.
Largely due to the fact that for manga authors, it can be pretty straining on your body.
Mm-hmm.
And he would often get ill and it would affect his work, yada, yada, yada. And I remember reading about this guy who had cancer. I don't have cancer, by the way, in case people think I'm trying to milk that. But
Okay, thank God.
Cancer.
Mhm.
And he talked about what the story meant to him as he was reading it. Like once he fell in love with the story, even when it reached low points, when it wasn't as good as it was, it still meant something to him and he would still engage with it. He would just be happy to have the story because whenever he got into that story, it made him forget whatever situation he was in. So yeah, I don't think I can say anything that's so profound that it can convince someone who's going through a tough time that they should keep going. But I know that everyone has a thing that inspires them or makes them feel like, maybe tomorrow things won't suck as much. For a lot of people, it's a person, it's a thing, whatever. For me, it's still storytelling, and it's a lot of people as well. Because yeah, it's really cool when long time ago, you didn't really think that you could amount to anything in life because you were always sick, and
Mhm.
and then you while you were sick, you created a thing, and then people were like, "Oh, it's so cool that you created this thing. It made me smile. It made me whatever." And you're like, "Wow, so I mean something? I can
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah.
It's it's
And
it's messy and complicated.
yeah. I mean, it's life, man. And it's not like we're having this conversation to give all the answers or keys, but just like sharing stories and experiences. Like you said that that's why you delve into storytelling. And for most people, for some people, or let me say like a good number of people, they don't know that maybe storytelling is their thing that inspires them. But I feel like that's why it's important to have conversations like this when people create something, because I know as a storyteller that there's something there that
Mhm.
people can learn from and resonate with, because like like people listen to your story like, wow, I'm going through something similar, you know, but this is what Kuda has done when he was at that low point. I should find something that inspires me, and if I share it with with the world, and it helps somebody, then that's great. So I think probably that's what people could do, you know, find something that inspires you, a person, a thing, and
Whatever it is.
yeah, don't give in to that cynic mindset. And I mean, we all fall short and falter. If you've been there, just, you know, get yourself out or ask for help, reach out to people, because it's an important thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So what are the plans like for Mutupo? How long till we get a physical comic book? I definitely want to get my hands on one. Please sign it. I want it to be one of the, I don't know, the first 10, please, if that's possible. And when are we getting the animation? Huh?
We'll try to make that happen.
Yeah. Like, what are the plans? What are the potential roadblocks? And also, like, from comic also to like animation, something that we can actually see on TV and stuff.
Hmm. Well, it'll be a few months. I want to say 4. It's gonna be about 4 months until you can.
A physical comic?
Yeah, you can hold a physical comic, and it's gonna be volume 1, which is gonna be about 10 chapters, and you can kind of that'll be like the first arc of the story, the beginning of the story, because it's not a super long story, but it's not a short story.
Oh my god! Oh my
It's
god!
gonna
Oh my god!
it's it's gonna take a while to get to the end, but yeah, I don't even know if I'm gonna reach the end, but I know I definitely love being in the midst of it, and I wanna write it for as long and as honestly as I can. So yeah, in about 4 months we'll be able to read the volume 1 physically, and also in that space of time, um, of course, I'm also an animator. That's what I do professionally, and I'm also working on like an animated trailer for for the story. Like if Mutupo was an animated show that was coming out next year, what would the trailer look like?
Oh my
So we're also
god!
what
What was that you just said? When Mutupo is an animated show?
no, that don't twist my words. um, uh, we're just making a short trailer
Mhm.
with the thinking that if it was an animated show that's coming soon, what would the trailer look like? Uh, I think
Mm.
a lot more people respond to the visual aspects, moving pictures with sound. People like those. So we're gonna a short, yeah, my papai. We're gonna make a short couple minutes of that, and yeah, hopefully it's gonna hype up people enough so that they can check out the story. Yeah, those are the immediate plans. As for long-term plans, I just want to be able to do Mutupo and hopefully get paid for it. Because yeah, if I'm not getting paid for it, it'll be a bit hard to do it.
Yeah,
I got paid.
yeah, and people have to pay for the art. Yeah, and so in 4 months, we're gonna have volume 1 and a trailer.
And a trailer, yeah.
Okay, like I told you before, bro, I'm willing to lend my time, resources, and voice. If you, yeah, I'm not even ashamed. For those of you listening, yes, I am plugging myself, man. This is what you do. Connect with people. Be bold about what you want, like a superhero. People like, yeah.
So cool.
I would love to lend my voice at no charge. I want to help you see this project through in any shape, way, or form, in any capacity. Like just let me know. And how much are we how much is the comic book gonna cost, like the physical item?
I don't know, but it's not gonna be expensive because like it's not in color, so it's not gonna be.
Is
You won't have to sell your kidney to buy it.
Is it possible to get one copy that's in color? I will pay premium for it.
I definitely want to do that at some point, but that's probably like a December thing.
That's fine. Just know that you've got a buyer for the color version.
Yeah, I love color too, but it takes time.
I'm serious, but I'm serious though. Like, bro, please realize how serious I am. I'm at the stage of take my money, take it now. That's like how serious I am.
I'm very willing to take your money. I'm not that reserved. I'll take your money.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, take it. I'm happy for you to take it, man. You deserve it. And like, you know, like there's something I wanted to mention that I for me, the whole Mutupo thing, I don't know, like people can comment or people can reach out and tell you why, like they connected with it. For me personally, I told you it's like the whole culture thing and the fact that Mutupo is important for our culture. You know, it's our identity. It's, you know, a symbol for our people or a family or like your lineage, your tribe. That is so important, especially to any hero on their journey of becoming. And this is what this podcast is all about, your journey to becoming the most heroic version of yourself. And I'm not even having this podcast to talk to people who've amassed tons of success. I'm interested in the people on the journey of becoming, people who are doing, and that's what you're doing. And when it comes to Mutupo or any hero on their journey, it's important to know where you come from, your identity, your cultural identity, because that informs the journey, you know. And a lot of the time, because of our country's history, colonialism, and this whole westernization, we've become so disconnected from it. And I live in Poland, and I've been challenged. My identity has been challenged and questioned, not in a bad way, but in a way that I was like, wow, I do not know nothing or enough about my people, my culture. When people are like, oh, can you play us your favorite music? I'm like, okay. You know, I like, and then I start playing stuff like, these hoes ain't loyal. I'm like, but that's not African though, you know? And
yeah.
And it's important. It's very important. to your sense of identity, and it hurts sometimes. Like I never ask these questions. Like before you leave the country, you're always romanticizing about outside, and then you realize when people are being so proud and speaking about where they're from, their names, their story, and you realize, ah, what do I know actually? I know a bunch of world history, but not enough of my own. And that is wrong, you know? And, you know, it's because of like things that happen in the world with people control the narrative, distorting and erasing our identity and our culture, deeming it as not important or not as cool. And as a young person, you take that on, you're like, oh, okay, actually my stuff is not that cool and stuff, and you neglect it, and that's a bad thing. It's been true for movies, culture. That's why I'm so excited. Like, wow, there's something that connects with me culturally. It's anime, I love it, and then Mutupo, so it's an even deeper connection, which is so important. And man, you got to see this through. Like, I have made it one of my life's missions to make sure you see this through.
I think the way it's resonating with you, it's oddly doing the same for me, because just because I'm writing the story about Mutupo doesn't mean that I know a whole lot about my culture and all of that. It's actually really challenging doing the research, because
there's not enough out there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of it. So yeah, I'm hoping that it's already happened significantly. Like as I'm writing the story, I'm also learning about my own culture, and it's weird. I've always known my totem, but it's never something that's been like at the forefront of my mind. Like, this is actually a name that I go by in some parts. Like this is literally my identity, but I barely even mention it. So yeah, it's pretty cool to put myself into that and see where it takes me. And yeah, hopefully I can take a few people with me. I'll take you all down with me. And you're
dude, you have a legion of people ready to back you up. Have you ever considered like starting a Patreon? How can people support? How can I support? I mean, I've already mentioned the whole voice thing, and I definitely buy the color copy, don't forget. But for other people who want to support as well, like how can we? How can you do it continuously as well? Because I want to see more of this.
Well, a Patreon would be great, but I literally haven't found enough time to set that up, because work is just crazy. It's like it's a lot of admin to set it up, but I will. At the moment, people can just support me by just reading it and engaging with it. I kind of have a problem with, well, I don't have a problem with it, but there's this thing back home when like someone makes something and you want it to be supported. People like, support local content. Why don't you support local content? I think it's cool to support local content, but I don't want people to support something just because it's local, or just because you're like, it has my cultural thing in it. I don't want people to support it because of that. I want people to support it because it's good, or because they actually like it. Because that's how they can actually engage with it. That's when the engagement is actually genuine. So yeah, the best thing that people can do right now is to just engage with the story, give it a chance, see where it leads. If you like it, you'll eventually talk about it or whatever. And for now, that's enough. And of course, I'll start asking for more, because, well, that's what people do. But
because you're gonna be giving us more.
Yeah, definitely. That too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now people can just read when they see a new chapter update. And it's, it's gonna be kind of cool. If you like anime and if you like stories, particularly if you're a fan of action and mystery, this
Mm,
will be right up your alley.
that is amazing. Man, that is fantastic. Thank you for sharing all this. And like, I'm super excited for the next chapter. I've never had the Webtoon app, and I downloaded it just to follow Mutupo. And you're the only person I'm subscribed to so far.
that
So
that means to me, man.
yeah,
Definitely look around because it has, oh man, the kinds of stories there. It's amazing. It's an amazing app. There's a lot of stories.
that's amazing. It's so cool. Hey, dude, the cultural tidbits though are amazing. The things that are so shonen and so Zimbabwean, like the crowd going like, "Ziwe." I was like, oh my god, this is what I would totally do. You
Because like
know,
that's what I know. I can't be putting in American ad libs. I've never been to America.
exactly. You know, not that there's anything wrong with them, but damn, like this
There's-
connects deeper. You know.
yeah, but
Eh,
it's fun for me to include a thing that I know that someone from my country or my mother's Zambian,
mhm.
my dad's Zimbabwean. So it's cool to include stuff that I'm like, my Zimbabwean, my Zambian audience are gonna know exactly what this means. That's cool.
Yeah, it's like an inside joke.
Yeah,
The whole Shanglish vibe and the naming of the cities it's amazing. Like in I think it's the is this second or third? The third one, Sokov versus Mafu. There's the Viri. I was like, oh my God. So cool, so cool. I was like, oh my God, this is just so cool. You know,
yeah, like, if this is happening here, that's how it would happen.
yeah, and it's like you grounded it in reality, in our reality, and
Mm.
it makes it so much better. And I'm glad you did that. But man, just to close off, what just to like, what is your definition of a superhero or a hero? I know your favorite anime is Bleach, but what is your what would be your definition of a
Superhero.
superhero? Yeah.
Well, my favorite superheroes are Superman and Spider-Man.
Oh, that's cool.
And I definitely romanticize the idea of superheroes. I'm pretty sure we love them at the same degree because I love superheroes too. And I'm not exaggerating when I say I put myself in a superhero's shoes when life is kind of tough for me.
Same, man. Same.
Like there's this thing that my sister and my girlfriend are always making fun of me for.
Mhm.
There's this word which means fight in Japanese, and it's tatakai, which
Right.
is like if you watch Attack on Titan, people say that word a lot, and they know that whenever I'm going through a tough time, I'll make a status update and it'll be like
Okay.
and yeah, they tend to make fun of me because of that. So I guess my definition of a superhero would be like someone who fights and keeps fighting, especially if it's in sacrifice of himself, because it's rarely it's not really glamorous to be a superhero. Like when we're looking at superheroes, they look really cool. But if you actually think of the psychology of the person behind it and their life, it's really taxing to be like, you continuously give yourself for other people, almost like you don't exist and you just exist to serve other people. Of course, you should think about yourself, but yeah, my definition of a superhero is someone who sacrifices themselves for the quote unquote greater good. And what greater good is there than the benefit of the people around you?
That is phenomenal, man.
Yeah, I think that sounds pretentious enough.
Yeah, we'll end it there. Yeah, that is like the coup de grace, the finishing blow for the audience. Just like there's so much more I could say, but okay, like literally, I swear this is like the last thing, the last thing.
I don't mind.
I know I said that a couple last things ago, a couple minutes ago, but the whole tatakai thing stuck with me because you said, when you're going through a difficult time, you just utter that word tatakai, and then it's going down. Is that your way in real life to enter to enter Super Saiyan, to enter the Mamba mentality, to enter the Avatar state? Is that your way? Like, flame on, tatakai. Like,
it's one of them, definitely. I have two ways. There's that, and the other one is I just think I'm Spider-Man, and I'm like, there's only one Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The thing I'm doing, whatever it is I'm doing, the responsibilities that I have, they're my responsibilities, not anyone else's. And Spider-Man is all about responsibility. That's one of the reasons I love Spider-Man, because of the whole responsibility thing. So I really relate to him. And so it's either tatakai or I'm just like, hey, I'm Spider-Man. I gotta get up and swing around, save a couple people,
City
put on the
needs
mask.
saving. City needs saving.
If you watched the first video when I was talking about Mutupo and my face was actually
Oh yeah, and you had the mask.
I had like a hat that looks like a Spider-Man mask, which my sister made.
Man, shout out to your sister.
Other
sisters, take notes. all my sisters, if you're listening right now, you know what we want. We want masks and costumes. Me and Kudak. You know what we like. Don't have to think much. It's not that difficult. That is some powerful stuff.
It's weird. It's weird, but it works.
All right.
Everyone has a thing that works for them specifically. That's the thing that works for me.
Awesome. Amen. Like it was a pleasure to connect with a fellow anime fan, and if you're listening, reach out to Kuda on all his platforms. Everything will be in the description of this episode on whatever platform you're listening to.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, man.
You caught me on a good day, and I really enjoyed this one.
Yes, awesome. I'm glad I did. For the rest of the audience, till next time, tatakai.
That is it for this episode. I hope you guys got some value out of that one. If you did, connect with us on Instagram and let us know. We would love to hear from you guys. Till the next episode, I'm your host, Tino. And remember, go out there and be the most heroic version of yourself. Peace.